First, for member birthdays, last Friday was Shelley Libertat's birthday on November the 1st. On this Saturday, November the 9th, will be Mason's birthday, Mason Romero. Mason's here. Saturday. And then Friday, November the 8th, will be Glenn Smith's birthday. We have no birthdays to announce. For member anniversaries, last Friday, there were 2 members in our club that celebrated their anniversaries in the club. First was Honor Jr., who was celebrating 24 years. And last Friday, Mr. Ken Taylor celebrated 30 years in the club.
All right.
And tomorrow will mark Mr. Brett Darby's first year in the club. And do I have members with guests? Wait. Anyone else? Anyone else with guests? Okay. Activities going on this weekend or this next week will be Sip and Savor, and I know that we'll be speaking about that in a few minutes. Anyone else have anything else this weekend going on around about town?
Yeah, I just want to announce that it's Paul and Sarah's 43rd wedding anniversary. I don't know if you have that.
All right.
Is it today, Paul? It is today. So I will go back and break that.
Take her out to McDonald's.
That's about right. That's about right.
But I will update that to make sure that it does that. Anyone else have anything else? No? Thank you.
Exciting football game going on this week.
Thank you, Annette. All right, so before I get started with my list of announcements, we have quite a few today, and then we're going to jump into our program. I have a couple of requests to make some announcements, so I'm going to call on Jerome. Jerome, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Make this really short. Y'all know me, I'm Jerome Theo, Superintendent of the Empire School Board. Today, our district and school performance scores came out. Keep it really simplified. So I want to let y'all know that Vermillion Parish is now comprised of 12 A-rated schools, 5 B-rated schools, 3 C-rated schools, 0 D, and 0 F. And now Vermillion Parish, last year was ranked number 4 in the state, and I'm proud to say we're the number 2 district in the state of Louisiana, and if you're looking at traditional public school systems, we're number 1 traditional public school system in the state of Louisiana.
All right.
Jerome, I think you were supposed to drop the mic. That's right. Congratulations on that. All I heard was my home values going up. I don't know about that. Sounds good. I'm going to call on Rob Boyd. He's going to give us a little announcement about the past president's meeting.
So I sent out an email a few days ago about the past president's meeting. My memory's shot, so it is Tuesday, November 12th at the old Riverfront building on the river. The cost is $20 per head. Brian's going to cater everything for us for that evening. And then Don sent out an email the following day mentioning it again. If you have not RSVP'd for the event already, please do.
All right, thanks, Rob. So, as it was mentioned before, this Saturday is our Sip and Savor, a huge game for LSU and Alabama. We're going to kick off around 1 o'clock with the car show and the cornhole registration. We're going to try to get kicked off first, beanbag in the air by 1:30. I would like to get that tournament going and get it over by kickoff. So that's going to be 1 o'clock. We're passing around a volunteer sheet. If you'd like to sign up and help us out at any time that's on that sheet, we'd greatly appreciate that. We'll be there from 1 p.m. all the way to 12 a.m. So if you feel like you're going to catch the game somewhere else, come see us that evening. We'll have live music and food. I think the burger cook-off is going to kick off 5 o'clock for the burger cook-off. Tickets are $35. I do have individual tickets here with me today, so if you'd like one before you leave, come see me. They're $35. To enter the cornhole tournament, $25 per team. And again, all the proceeds are going to ERAT Rotary Club, split with Abbeville's Rotary Club. We'll make an announcement pretty soon. On our end, all of our proceeds up to $7,200 is going to go to Abbeville Police Department to outfit them with all new firearms. So it's a good, worthy project to come participate in. Next week, we will not have a new meeting. We have our annual Rotary Night Out hosted by our President-elect, Chris Duyon. It's going to be here from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and the theme is speed gaming. So you bring your spouse, bring your family. It's a family event. We'll have food catered and we'll do some gaming events and some other. You want to make a comment on that?
Yeah, just so again, it's going to be catered. Can we pass out a sign-up sheet just to kind of get
A heads up. I'll send out an email. You guys can respond by email because I didn't
read away. Just so so it will be catered, but we ask everybody to bring their special dessert. Everybody can bring a little flavor of their own to the event. Again, it will be a Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay? So again, okay. All right. Thank you, Robert.
All right, thank you. All right, so another thing we're going to try to do, we spoke on this at my first meeting, doing a little bit of different on what we do as far as PR is concerned. I'm sure you guys noticed that the Chamber puts in something in the paper every month, as well as Fuel Vermilion does something as well. We're going to get going with the Rotary page every month in the newspaper. I would like to, but I need about 6 or 8 volunteers to help us support that endeavor. And what I mean by that is we need to sell business card size advertisements, roughly about $25 to $40. I need about 6 people in order to cover the cost of the announcement in the page for Rotary. So if you're interested in that, I already have like 3 or 4 that mentioned it to me, so I just need about 3 more. Again, it's $25 to $40 depending on the size of the ad that you choose, and it will be a monthly expense. If you decide at some time that you don't want to do it, we'll address that at that time. But get with me if you would like to participate in that. Next thing, last week was a phenomenal meeting. It kind of reinvigorates what we do as Rotary. Kind of touched on me a little bit about why I am a Rotarian and why we get out and fundraise. So it was fitting to have that meeting just 2 weeks before one of our biggest fundraisers, just to understand what's going on. I passed around a little sign that the children at the French Immersion gave us that says merci. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I'm more Hispanic than I am French. But they put their little thumbprint all the way around that picture. Those kids, I think 11 weeks they've been in school, and they were able to understand and correspond with the teacher completely in French. It was absolutely amazing to see it. They are so excited about the over 600 books that they were able to purchase from you guys' donations. And with that being said, this year and almost every year, I couldn't get the total amount of years, but I received this in the mail at my office. And again, so fitting for this week that our club once again has been honored as a 100% member participation for 2018-2019. What that means to you is that every one of our Rotarians donates $100 a year to the foundation. And the reason that is significant is because the money we were able to get from the district to purchase those library books for the French Immersion program comes from the foundation. So it's very important. I want to thank you guys because that's your doing, our club's doing. So thank you. Also, I'd like to call up Jim Rousseau, and he's going to make a presentation as well. Thank you, Jim.
Good afternoon, everyone. And today I represent Rotary International as the Assistant District Governor in presenting the Rotary Citation. And if any of you don't know what the Rotary Citation is, it's a set of goals that Rotary sets forth to the club presidents and the clubs to achieve. And if you achieve those goals, which are many, then you receive the Rotary citation, which used to be called, many of you more senior Rotarians called it the Presidential Citation. It is now known as the Rotary Citation. And last year, we were on a ride. Past President Rob Roy took us on a whirlwind of a year of achieving the goals that Rotary set forth. And I don't have a list of all of them with me, but suffice it to say that the Rotary gives out the Rotary Citation and gives out the Rotary Citation with distinction. And Rob achieved, and this club achieved Rotary Citation with gold distinction. So I think we all owe each other and our past president, Rob Roy, a round of applause for It's certainly not only the president that does this, and I guess that's why they don't call it the Presidential Citation anymore, but it's certainly all of the club. But with the leadership we had, it certainly was easier to achieve what we achieved. So it's my honor and pleasure to present the Rotary Citation to past President Rob Roy. Thank you all very much, and I think that we're on track for another gold citation this year with our current President, Robert. So we're looking forward. Maybe I'll get to do this again next week.
Well, look, Ken came up to me before the meeting and said, I want to let you know you got this thing rolling. I said, look, buddy, I'm only following the path that was laid out in front of me. And I told him, I said, maybe I'm more like I'm gardening. I'm catching the weeds that are growing and keeping it trimmed, but I'm just trying to keep things going. We really appreciate Rob's leadership. Truly a mentor of mine, so I hope to achieve just as much as he did as a club. One other announcement that I forgot to mention is the City of Abbeville would like us to nominate, or any civic organization to nominate for an open position they're trying to fill at the Abbeville Municipal Employee Civil Service Board. So if anybody knows anyone that they want to nominate for that position, you can get with me. I can fill out the paperwork for you, and we can submit that to the city. Yes, sir.
This weekend, I had a joint almond party at my house, and very fortunate to borrow the cook wagon. Thanks, Rob, for bringing it, picking it up. And many people who came to my home, which is over 100 people, many people asked me about Rotary. You know, what is this Rotary thing? And so it's serving its purpose. So I want to thank Rob again for bringing it and picking it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tom will call you up to introduce our program. Thank you, guys.
All right, today I'd like to welcome Dr. Terrance Chambers. Dr. Chambers is the Donald and Janice Mosing BORSF Endowed Chair in Mechanical Engineering and the Director of the Energy Efficiency and Sustainable Energy, EESC Center at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. His research interests include alternative energy, virtual reality, optimization, and artificial intelligence. He is the author of over 60 publications and has been awarded over $10 million in externally funded research grants, along with numerous grants from industry and state agencies. Federal grants have been obtained from NSF, DOE, NASA, USDA, and ED. He is a registered professional engineer in the state of Louisiana. We'd like to welcome Dr. Chambers.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? If you can hear me just fine, I'd rather not use the microphone. Is that all right? Sure. All right, great. So it's a great pleasure for me to be able to be here and fellowship with you and to tell you a little bit about the really fun things we're doing up at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. This is a really fun time for me as a professor to be working there at UL Lafayette. I've been there now for 22 years. I'm from Kansas originally, but this is home to me now. I came down here. Y'all fed me some boudin and some gumbo, and I married me a nice Cajun girl, and now I'm staying right here. So thank you for giving me the chance that the university has recently met, which may be news to you. So I want to just mention a few things so that you can really be proud of the university here that many of you, I think, are probably affiliated with one way or another. I want to talk a little bit about renewable energy market forces that may also be new to you. You know, we're an oil and gas state, and we'll always be leaders in that area, but there's also a possibility of us becoming leaders in renewable energy as well, and I'd like to talk to you about some of the market forces that are driving that, and then I want to get into some of the solar energy research that we're doing there at the university. So in terms of some of the things that you may not know about the university itself right now, we've been ranked by the Princeton Review as being within the top 15% of the universities in the country. Okay? We've been rated by the National Science Foundation as one of the top 10 universities in the country in terms of working with industry to help you solve your problems so that you can make more money and be more profitable and develop your business right here in Louisiana so we can have economic development so our sons and daughters don't have to leave the state, they can have a job right here. The University of Louisiana Lafayette is the largest in the UL system, University of Louisiana system, and we are classified as by the Carnegie Foundation as a higher research institution. Last year, we exceeded a goal that we've been striving to reach for quite a while, which is to exceed $100 million worth of research per year. So we've been climbing steadily for the last several years, especially the last decade. And last year, we just broke the $100 million per year mark. This year, we're almost done. We're projected to be at about $120 million in externally funded research. So that is a real milestone that the university's been able to achieve. In terms of the College of Engineering, which I'm from, we have been ranked, the College of Engineering has been ranked as being in the top 10% of the nation's best engineering programs, top 179 engineering programs. And here's something else that you may not know is that our enrollment in the College of Engineering has almost doubled in the last decade. It's grown by 80%. So now we have around 2,400 or 2,500 students here in the College of Engineering. And yet, even though we've been growing, and even though we've been transitioning from primarily a teaching-oriented institution to a mixed research, a balanced research and teaching institution, we have not lost our focus on undergraduate education as our primary mission. And that's one of the things that makes me especially proud to teach at this university, because we remain committed to our undergraduate students as our primary research, or primary educational mission, and we do research in a way that benefits local industry and that benefits our students instead of just doing it to try to make a lot of money for the university. So those are things that make me proud about being affiliated with the University of Louisiana Lafayette and also with the UL College of Engineering. Now here's something I'd like to transition now into renewable energy as the topic of my talk today. So I want to talk to you about some renewable energy market forces. And this slide is probably too small for you to read in the back, so let me show you what we're looking at. In the top part of this, we're looking at the price, the cost of energy from different renewable technologies. Here we have wind, geothermal, fuel cells, solar, and down here on the bottom half, what we have is the cost for different types of traditional power generation technologies, such as coal or a gas combined cycle or a gas peaking plant, nuclear. And what you can see, the cost here for solar and wind here is in terms of levelized cost of energy in terms of dollars per megawatt hour. Okay? So
Cost to the consumer or cost to the producer?
this is how much it costs to make energy using the different technologies. And this is in dollars per megawatt hour, but to make it something that makes sense to you, that you can compare to your utility bill, if you shift the numbers here by just one place, it gives it to you in cents per kilowatt hour. That's what you probably get on your bill. I don't know what your bills are around here, but it's probably in the 10 cent per kilowatt hour range. Is that more or less? Yeah, okay. So what you've got right here is at the utility scale for solar photovoltaic is 4 cents to 4.6 cents a kilowatt hour. For a gas combined cycle, which is the most efficient type of natural gas plant, 4.1 cents to 7.4 cents a kilowatt hour. For coal, 6 cents to 14.3 cents a kilowatt hour, depending on the cost of the fuel. Here's another, the same information presented a different way. Right here we have the cost of building a brand new wind or solar plant. This is onshore wind, offshore wind, solar photovoltaic at the utility scale. This is a different type of solar. And then this is the marginal cost of continuing to operate an existing coal-fired power plant or nuclear plant. So basically what we're seeing is that onshore wind at sometimes 1.4 cents a kilowatt hour is right now the cheapest way to get electricity in the United States. It is cheaper. You can build a brand new wind turbine. I'm from Kansas. You can do it in Kansas. It's not quite as good down here in Louisiana, but it's still in this range. You can build a brand new wind turbine cheaper than you can continue to operate an existing coal plant. That's something that most people don't know yet. So when people say, look, I'm not excited about renewable energy because the main thing I care about is keeping my electricity costs down. Well, that's fine. The way you want to keep your electricity costs down right now is buy wind and solar. Yes, sir.
Will one wind turbine produce as much energy as a coal plant?
One wind turbine, typically one commercial scale wind turbine these days is in the 5 megawatt range, and a typical coal plant is in the 101 to 200 megawatt range.
So you're comparing the prices, but you get more energy out of the coal plant than you do with wind turbine.
Right. This is not. There's lots of not exactly apples to apples, but this is the way that this is computed is all the costs to build the thing, and then all the maintenance and operation costs over the lifetime of the project, and then you take the amount of energy that you produce for the whole lifetime and divide that. So that's how you get the energy cost. Okay, so that's what that levelized cost is. But that, I think, may be of news to a lot of people. And here's what that means. In 2019, there are 24 gigawatts worth of electrical generation scheduled to be built and commissioned in the United States. Most of it is wind and solar. About a third of it is natural gas. Nobody's building new coal. The planned retirements, there's 8 gigawatts of power plants going to go offline, scheduled to go offline this year. Nuclear and coal are all shutting down. Even some natural gas plants are shutting down because of the economics. Okay? And so, coal, I'm sorry, even if we currently have an administration that is trying to save the coal industry, I don't think it's going to happen just because the economics have changed. It's cheaper right now to do wind or solar than coal.
How long would it take to
replace coal completely with wind? How many years?
Yeah, let me show you. This will give you a little bit of an idea where we're at. In terms, this table, again, you can't really see the numbers, but I'll tell them to you. Coal right now, this is the total installed capacity of all our power generation in the country. Coal right now has about 22% of all of our generation capacity. Solar has about 3%. So it's going to take a long time. Also, wind at about 8%. Okay? So wind and solar are currently the cheapest. They're getting built quickly. 16 gigawatts or so going to go online of wind and solar this year. But that's compared to, so we're going to build 16 gigawatts of wind and solar this year. We currently have 257 gigawatts of coal. So at that rate, it's going to take a long, long time to replace. Yes, sir?
When you talk about the length of time to be able to put something in place, when you're talking about wind and solar power, what would it take the area to build these plants, or each windmill, or whatever you want to call them, the turbine?
Yeah.
What amount of area would it take just to do the Acadiana region? Just for or even the I-10 corridor? What would it take? How much area would it take?
Okay, I can give you a couple numbers, and then I can give you a guesstimate, because I don't have that number off the top of my head, but here's one number that I can tell you. 5 acres of solar will give you a megawatt, 1 megawatt. So if you want to produce the same as 100 megawatt coal plant, you would need 500 acres. Okay? Now there's actually, I have to put a little asterisk up there. There's lots of asterisks here that that need to be discussed eventually. But I get calls just about every week from a farmer in this area saying, "Hey, I'm just wondering, is it economical for me to convert my rice field into a solar plant?" And that discussion is not today's discussion, but I want you to know that there's a lot of interest, a lot of activity going on. In fact, you know how oil men go around, land men go around, and they lock up the leases for drilling, right? Right now what's happening in Louisiana is the same thing is happening for solar farms. And there are solar developers going all around the state locking in leases, and I get calls from all these farmers saying, "Hey, I got a guy who's offering me this lease. Is this a scam? Is this real?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. Send me a copy. Let me look at it." And so that's part of, the role that I feel like I can play as a professor is really my goal is to be able to provide reliable, accurate information to people so they can make their decisions. Okay, so what are we doing here at the university to study some of this? My particular area is solar. Wind is not my particular area, but we do have people who are studying that. It's my pleasure to actually serve as the director for the Energy Efficiency and Sustainable Energy Center. It's a grouping of 10 faculty that work together on all these related issues, which are energy efficiency. How can you run your business or your farm more efficiently in terms of energy? Can you do some kind of conversions, maybe with your lights or your HVAC system, or with, do you need variable speed drive? And maybe get USDA funding, for example, to fund some of these energy efficiency programs. We also look at all different types of sustainable energy: solar, wind, hydro, geothermal. We've got people working on all of those. Economic development, we work with a lot of companies to try to either help them deploy renewable energy or energy efficiency, or to develop a new product that they can sell. in that market. You know, one of the things that I think about all the time is the fact that I hear continual calls, we need to diversify our economy. And I look at all these businesses all up and down Highway 90, these service companies for the oil industry primarily. And I look at the people and the facilities that they have, all of these skills that they have, all the facilities that they have could be easily converted from not necessarily only doing one or the other, but they could do both. They could service oil and natural gas, and they could service the renewable energy industry. We manufacture lots of things for the oil and gas industry. We could also manufacture lots of things for the renewable energy sector. That's jobs. There's lots of jobs. By the way, here's another factoid. I didn't put it in my presentation, but there actually now are more renewable energy jobs in wind and solar in the U.S. than there are in oil and natural gas. And everybody's got all these jobs except Louisiana.
I wonder why.
Yes, sir.
I was in a Rotary trip in New Mexico, living with this Rotarian on the Friendship Exchange, and he had a humongous amount of land, he and his wife, and they had all this big solar farm. And on this farm, they produce enough solar energy, and it goes into the grid. The
Yes,
3 grids are right by in New Mexico.
Yes, sir.
So everything goes into the grid. It's not, we produce it here, it's here, it goes all over.
Right.
Well, they produce enough electricity on this farm for electrical power in every major city in New Mexico from the grid. So, and I'm sure he was a pretty rich man. He treated us pretty good. But anyway, that's the thing. It has to be diversified. And that's what's happening. And as long as oil is at $54, it's not going to grow because they can't make money off it.
So, I am trying to raise some awareness right here and let you know there's an opportunity for economic development in this area, and all of our neighbor states are doing it. Texas is just going crazy with it. But even Mississippi and Alabama and South Carolina a ton, Florida. I mean, there's no reason we can't do it too. But right now we're not. So that's part of what we do is try to help with economic development and then also education and outreach. So this is our relatively new 1-year-old solar farm at the university. This is the second largest solar installation in the state right now, by the way. We're 1.1 megawatt. That's the second largest installation. And we're the only ones that will share our data with you. Okay? The largest installation right now is an Entergy pilot plant actually that's the third one. The Entergy pilot plant is 1 megawatt. It's over in New Orleans, but they won't tell you how it performs or how much it costs or anything. Yes, sir.
Energy reduce IQL covering the energy consumption of a portion of the campus?
Yes, sir. So what this does, I don't know if y'all are very familiar with the campus, but we have the main campus, and then we have what we call South Campus, which is all the athletic facilities, Cajun Field, the practice field, everything from Cajun Field down to Blackham Coliseum is what is physically powered by this power plant. And in the middle of a nice sunny day right now, we are making approximately 20% of, in terms of power, instantaneous power demand, South Campus demands about 1.5 megawatts. We produce about 1.1. So that's in the middle of the day. But then, of course, we need energy at night, and the solar plant doesn't make any power at night. So on an annual energy basis, we produce about 20% of the needs of South Campus, and overall for the whole university, about 3%. Okay? Yes?
What was the cost to build that facility?
Actually, to the university, zero, because it was, so it's all profit to us. It was Actually, this was an EPA mitigation project by one of the power companies that exceeded their emissions limit. So in lieu of a fine, an EPA fine, they built this for the university. Yes, sir.
You're throwing around these numbers like a megawatt.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to admit it. I'm not sure what megawatt is. It's a megawatt, okay? The city, a town, the city of Abbeville, 12,000 people. How many megawatts does it consume?
Okay, I don't know, but I would guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so to give you a comparison, Lafayette is a 500 megawatt city.
Okay.
Okay, LUS is 500
Abbeville
megawatts.
is 10% of that.
Okay, so, all right, so there you go.
All right, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I didn't want you.
Yes, ma'am.
Going back to my question, okay, it didn't cost the university anything because
Right.
it was a fine on emission.
Right.
What would it cost the university?
Right.
to do that?
So this was, we installed this at about $3 a watt. So that was about $3.1 million. $3 a watt is, see, I want to explain something. We built this specially as a research lab, not just the way a power company would build it. If you build it just as a 100 megawatt solar plant, you could probably do it for $1 a watt. So $1 million per megawatt. Okay, and that's the price that would give you the price of electricity that I showed on those other slides. Yes, sir.
So when I see these large solar farms like this, all of these are direct power. None of them, you're not storing any power at all, are you?
I'm not, but
No,
many of
in
them
this
do.
particular.
Many of them do. So I have another slide, I didn't include it in the presentation, but if you pair solar plus battery storage, so you can use the power, you can save it and use it later when you need it, it increases the cost by about half again. Now, that makes it so that battery plus, and the cost of both batteries and solar keeps plummeting. And so battery plus storage is soon likely to be cost competitive even with natural gas very soon.
I'm told that the battery technology is not nearly keeping up with the solar technology. Any truth to that? I mean, to store that much power, it takes some serious battery.
It does take serious battery. And right now, basically, the cost of batteries is $1 a watt also. So, yeah, if I were to pair a battery this size for my solar plant, it'd cost $1 million. Okay? So that is expensive, but it's, the thing I'm really trying to convey is that something different has happened just in the last couple years. There's been a crossover point in the cost of solar and wind coming down and variability in risk and uncertainty and the cost of coal and natural gas. And so there's a crossover point, and right now there's a lot of the new installations being done with solar and wind, and we are doing research in one kind of solar, and also I want you to know that we're also working in a different technology. This is concentrating solar thermal. We're also getting ready to do some work in the area of microgrids. And I think I'll just finish up with just these last couple slides, which is, this is part of what really motivates me, is when I get the students out there learning about this so we can train the next generation of renewable energy engineers and technicians. And then this is what really warms my heart. When we can begin to do some outreach to the next generation and help them understand about these technologies. Yes,
Two questions, Chief. One, I want you to address net metering. Two, you can scale solar for your house. You can't scale wind power for your house, can you? Can you answer those two questions?
So let me answer the second one first.
All right.
Solar on your house is about 3 times more expensive than solar at the utility scale. and so the economics aren't quite there, especially when we're in an intermediate solar resource band. You make more for solar on your house in Arizona than you do in Louisiana. Of course, we make more than you do in Maine. Okay? Net metering is the idea that if you make solar energy in the middle of the day, but you're not home to use it, right? So what do? You basically use the grid as a battery storage device. You push excess energy onto the grid, and then when you get home at night and you turn everything on, that's when your peak demand is in the evening. So then the utility sells it back to you when you need it. So the question with net metering is, when you generate the electricity, how much do you sell it to your utility company for? And then when you need it a few hours later, how much do they sell it back to you at, right? And so, what's the difference? How much profit do they make off of the fact that they're storing it for you for a little while? So right now, recently the Louisiana Public Service Commission passed a new rule that said going forward, the utility company will basically buy it from you at wholesale and sell it back to you a few hours later at retail. So that's
the public service commission. That's your politician you're talking about.
That's net metering. Okay, well, thank you. This has been a joy for me. I'm happy to stay after for anybody who wants to.
Any other last minute questions? All right, well done.
All right.
That's what they don't want. That's what they want to elect their guy. Oh, Don, you.
Rob Roy. Free lunch. All right. Last four is 2309.
That's close, man. What you came after me? It runs in the family, huh? Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Thank you for this. I appreciate it very much.
Pull, girl, pull.
All right, no winner today. Thank you guys. Hope to see you guys this Saturday.